Ciao, io sono Alex.
E Noémie.
Io sono Hooverphonic and you're watching
TVN.
I know that I've been mad in love before, and how it could be with you really hurt me, baby, really got me, baby. How can you have a day without a night?
It's an incredible thing, you know, a live orchestra is really like, you know, a big classical section. When they start playing, the first time I heard it, I was just kind of blown away by it. So I was like, wow, this is so like powerful. And so we said, like, already for years, we said, like, we want to share that, you know, with our fans. Yeah, it's a fantastic idea, we got to do this. So we started talking about it, starting organizing one show. And then it was a sold out, and then was a second show and a third show, and before we knew it, we played 6 nights in a row.
Really hurt me, baby, really got me, baby. How can you have a day without a night? You're the book that I have opened, and now I got to know much more.
The orchestra thing really was their big dream, and I'm really pleased that they waited so long. So now I can be a part of it, because I've been touring with them or working with them for 2 years now, and I'm already playing with an orchestra. There are, I don't think, many artists who can play with so many good musicians. So I'm really pleased that they waited to fulfill their dreams until I was there. So yeah, it's cool, and we're evolving every day. So I'm really excited what's going to be next.
I got a call from a Belgian radio station, and they said, like, we're celebrating the release of 5 fantastic albums that were released in the same week. And the guy asked me, like, do you want to do like a cover of Massive Attack? And I was like, it's quite obvious, it's like a trip-hop band, we were a trip-hop band. But I was working with Luca Chiaravalli, an Italian guy, in the studio, and I asked Luca, he's a piano player, I said, do you think you could do that, just piano vocal? Because it was a morning show, you know, like we couldn't bring a whole orchestra. And he tried it on the piano, so like, yeah, sure, you can do that. So I said to the guy, fine, we'll do it. And so Noémie with the piano player started rehearsing it. And they did it on radio, and very good reactions, everybody loved it. And then, you know, like a couple of months later, we had to do another radio show, and the radio station asked, can't you do a couple of covers? So then we thought, like, well, we can of course do.
We have one.
Getting the idea for the orchestra show, he said, like, yeah, but now we have a real string section and we have upright basses, so he rearranges it again and we start playing it, and we recorded it, and it was just like a magical moment. It was so beautiful.
It's cool that it's so totally different from the original version.
Yeah, and still there's strings in it, and in the original there's strings, and still it has nothing to do with each other. It's like, you know, Sharon Nelson, a black singer, Noémie, like very
white.
Very white. Like, you know, the string section actually reminds a bit of Craig Armstrong, and still it's not. So and when we listened to it, we said, like, yeah, it's definitely a single, so we're gonna release it. At that point, you know, we already had like the whole picture, the orchestra, the band, the set list, what we wanted to play, and we thought, like, so we're gonna rearrange everything. And then we're just gonna play it live, you know? That's a pity, you know? We should record it, because these arrangements are so different. Like the night before is completely played different. We play Expedition Impossible completely different. We should record this. It's a pity to kind of just like do it live, and so then we got the idea, why not try to record it in one day? And so we went to a studio in Belgium, a big studio, and then with like 45-piece orchestra, the band and Noémie, we recorded it, like started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and at 9 o'clock at night, everything was recorded.
We're on our way to the next train station, passing fields.
And actually, you know, it felt a bit like in the 60s. We thought we were back in the 60s, because in the 60s they did that. They recorded an album in a day.
I wasn't like the biggest Hooverphonic fan ever. If you were a great fan and you knew all the songs, then it was hard to make your own version, because I wasn't like the biggest fan. I can make my own versions because I'm not influenced by older things or older versions. So it's very natural for me. I just put my emotions into the songs, and then it goes.
It is happiness world without meaning, heaven, a place in utopia.
That was for us the biggest kind of like, you know, challenge. To find somebody who wouldn't kind of copy what we did before, because that's not interesting. And if you listen to the Mad About You version on the Orchestra album, it's a different, completely different version. It's like, we always say, you know, me and Raymond, we always say like, yeah, we gotta cover ourselves, but do it as good as the original. And that's really hard, you know. It's like with covers, it easily becomes very cheap kind of like version, you know, like of the original. And you know, good covers are very difficult to do, you know. But if they're well done, they really like, you know, have a reason to exist. And that's what we were working on with the orchestra, like to make sure that we would create Noémie's universe, you know, like create like arrangements around her voice, around how she sings.
See the leaves, how slowly tumble down. Cover it with green and yellow lawn. It's proof of what has been and what will come.
When people ask me, would you like to work for cinema as a composer? I'm not too sure actually, because I like to write music to movies that don't exist, to my own images, to kind of like, you know, it's fun. We are very free spirits. We can do whatever we want.
And that's the cool thing, we have our own movie. It's not one movie, it's a different movie from every different person.
Yeah, also like with you know, when Noémie started singing the songs, I never told her what the song was about. It's like, you know, we just gave her the lyrics, and then, you know, like she has to make her own story, her own movie. And that's also why we're not using a lot of projections on stage, because that would be like, you know, the easy thing, like, oh, Hooverphonic, movie inspired, so
put some retro stuff on the wall.
And then I'm like, no, people should watch the stage and then start thinking like, oh, now I see this, and now I see like, you know, James Bond driving in his like Aston Martin, you know, like down the Riviera or the Amalfi Coast, and you know, like some beautiful ragazzi at the bar drinking martinis. And
he's telling you his movie.
Hooverphonic is a retro-futuristic band. So we do have Facebook pages and whatever, and we try to kind of always use it in our way, you know. We always try to make it the best of it. So, and I think with everything, I'm very much like a futuristic guy. I like new kind of, new technology. But with new technology, we always have to make our new kind of like rules, you know, and it always takes some time. So for me, I think it's very interesting. At the same time, you don't always have to follow what everybody does, you know? It's kind of like, you know, you use whatever is useful to you, and you don't use what you don't want to use, you know? That's what it is. But it is kind of scary that they know a lot about you.
Yeah, and if you put a picture on it, you delete it, it's still on there. It's still somewhere.